children with no voice in borrowed rooms, to the magazines that carry their truth. 25 years of the same steady hand, finding the ones who fell through the cracks of the plan. From Mitcham to Croydon, from London to the world, every flag he planted said, you matter, you're heard, but there's a man who finds you in the car.
Are we live? Are we live?
We are. Well, we're on air.
Yay!
Here he comes.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
We are live.
Okay, great.
You can try. Of course,
Welcome,
of course we're
everyone.
live. I won't put the music on
Well,
and tell
I
you.
mean that people are seeing us, because we could never tell. And
Yes.
Restream doesn't like me, so as I was
I've got rid of my paint that was on me, which I no. Anyway,
oh my gosh.
I do love that song. I do love that song. I got to try and work out exactly where to start it.
Yeah,
Now I've increased it to a
we'll talk
minute.
about the song later.
No, I'm talking about the song now.
Yeah.
Lisa
And he
accused me.
sees you. I love
Lisa,
that.
yeah,
And he sees
so
you.
do I.
Yeah, I don't know if I want that, and he sees me. Okay.
In a good way, Lisa. In a good way.
I gave
But,
the side wink there. I don't know if you noticed it.
yeah.
I'm trying to create the video to go with it. But I'll worry about that later.
Winky eyes.
No.
Yes, right.
It's
Doing
this
that, Ellie.
concept of the spotlight on
Ellie
those.
sees you.
The spotlight on those
Okay.
who are doing great things, but no, in the shadows, so to speak.
Yeah. I
Paulette,
understand
leave your
the
glasses
point
alone,
of the song.
Paulette.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway, let's not hijack Lisa's show. Because Lisa said we always hijack her show, Paulette. She's always on time and she wants to leave on time. But you and I just waffle on.
No.
You and I waffle on, and then we stay an hour and a half, and it's 2 hours, and then you're asleep, and then the whole world goes
I'll be
wrong.
asleep.
I'm trying to start the show, and you see,
She's like, this what she didn't intend to happen. You and I just talking like this. Anyway, Lisa, it's your show. Talk to us.
Yes. Hi, folks. If you're not accustomed to us, welcome. Welcome to another episode where we talk everything menopause and we try to have some fun while doing it. If you're not accustomed to being here, welcome. If this is your first time, welcome. Please let us know where you're joining us from. We're using Restream. We can't see you unless you make the comments, so let us know. Yeah, say hi to us.
We got a few. So Linda's here. Welcome, Linda. How are you? So Liana is here as well. Good afternoon. I wish it was afternoon. It's nearly it's 9 o'clock here. So nighttime's here, right? And Jane is here as well. Welcome, all of you. Of course, there's always more people. So, but like Lisa said,
I'm seeing Will Williams on LinkedIn as well. If you see me looking off, I'm looking on my phone, because things don't always show up on Restream. But welcome, everyone. Let me pass the mic quickly to my co-host so we could introduce ourselves and get this party started. So, Paulette, take it away.
Well, hello, everybody. Sorry I cancelled the children's anxieties room today. I've not been feeling very well, but I wanted to be here and not let Lisa down. So here I am, probably not as loud and noisy as normal, although any would prove differently for both of us. But, we're here, we're trying, and we're going to give it our best, and we look forward to it. So over to you, Annie.
I'm refusing to talk today. I'm joking. I'm trying to work out how this camera thing is meant to work properly. Yes. Now, welcome, my friends. This is my second show this week. I got 2 tomorrow, so that's all right. So I'm prioritizing my decorating, as you can see. That's why I got white bits all over me. I just realized there's white bits on my nose as well, Paula. You didn't tell me. You and Lisa didn't tell me that, but I can see it myself. Right? Yeah, I'm all right now. Anyway, no, I'm still having fun. So my next book is about to be out. I'm on page 78 of 91 to edit. So hopefully I can push that tomorrow, and then start the next one after that. It goes on. I love the life I get to live. So doing books, doing events, making new friends. Someone, a lovely person, effectively referred the whole network to me. When you get that 25 group no group chats, and you're like, damn, I gotta put all those people in my diary. So Rebecca, I appreciate you. You never know where the meeting people is going to lead, do you? So I appreciate the chance to at least connect with a network. Let's see what happens. Hopefully, you might be seeing some of these people in good time, because many of them do good. They all do good things. It's whether it can help us, but time will tell. Time will tell. Lisa, I've talked way too much. Can I talk about this my masterclass, or should I leave that to the end?
Let's leave it till the end so you could put
Okay.
the link in the chat as well.
Okay. Cool.
And yeah, and I like that you talked about connecting. So if you're not connected to the people who are in the comments, connect with each other, follow each other. You never know where conversations could lead. If you don't know who I am, my name is Lisa Favek. I'm a dietitian, coach, author, awareness bringer of everything perimenopause and menopause. We have these conversations every other Tuesday, 5 p.m. Eastern, because we still don't have enough information on it. We don't talk enough about it. And women still ask some questions that you would think they would know already, and we're still confused about a lot of things. So that's why I try to bring a little piece of information every other Tuesday so that we're all on the same playing field and you could advocate for your own health, which is the most important thing. Today we're going to talk a bit about brain fog, that mental clarity. I was speaking at a conference on the 13th, so that's probably last week, and brain fog kept coming up. That was a lot of the questions surrounded brain fog. So I wanted to touch on it a bit, talk about why it happens, some of the other menopause symptoms that could trigger brain fog, and what you could do about it starting from today. Right? So just to give some of the science behind it. Right? And for more information, I'll also be posting a newsletter tomorrow that will give more information on it. So look out for that. But basically, when we're entering into perimenopause and into menopause, the hormones are fluctuating and decreasing, especially estrogen. Yes, to a lesser extent, progesterone and testosterone, but the main player here when it comes to brain fog is estrogen. And hormones are basically chemical messengers that tell the different body parts what to do, how to operate. And if estrogen is decreasing, it means we're not getting enough of the messages to the different body parts. So when it comes to our brain, there are lots of estrogen receptors. And again, if we're not having enough estrogen to attach to each one of those receptors, then the brain is going to go haywire and do what it wants, basically. So that's why a lot of sometimes confusion, the brain fog, not remembering stuff, also leading to confidence issues. All of those things happen because of hormonal fluctuations, which happen to all women. We will all go through menopause. So most of us will experience some sort of cognitive decline. Many women start thinking they're having dementia or Alzheimer's. And yes, it's certainly something to check for because it may not be menopause. As we're getting older, anything can happen, so we want to check and make sure. But once we rule out everything else and we're left with the answer menopause, then what do we do? A lot of women, especially in the workplace, in the corporate world, a lot of the discussions I was having last week, women are afraid to admit it because it means sometimes saying, okay, well, you're not operating at your best. Many women get passed over for promotions, get left off of projects. Many women leave the job because they're being passed over, they're not being supported. They think they can't do the job well anymore, so let's retire or resign. And these are things that are happening all over the world. So we want to have these conversations, want to normalize it, to let your managers, supervisors know that this can happen, and what can we do to support it. I want to pass the mic a little bit to Paulette because I know you came from the corporate world. You were having a lot of conversations, but not just with your own health issues, but with other women, other men as well. So, just to give some sort of real life situations, if you
Yeah,
can.
to give it some context, I
Mm-hmm.
think the biggest thing that I found was, and I suffer from fibromyalgia. Now, part of the issue with fibromyalgia is you get brain fog. So I was diagnosed with that in my 40s after I had my hysterectomy. Now, thinking about it, I don't know that it was fibromyalgia. I actually think it started, I mean, I know it was now because I've had all the tests, but I think for perhaps a year or so, I'd gone after the hysterectomy straight into what would have been the menopause, but I'd already lost everything. And so my hormones were absolutely going mad. And as a trader, the one thing you can't afford to do is miss a trick. You just can't. And it was one of those situations where I literally would look at numbers and they would just do that. And I used to be so sharp and it was just swimming. And I got help. I got hormonal implant and I got help. And gradually I got my sharpness back. And then the lady came to me and said exactly what you just said, Lisa. I think I might be becoming dyslexic. And I said, why? She said the screen keeps moving, everything's going a bit whoa. I think maybe I've got a brain issue or something. And I said, are you still having your period? And she looked at me and went, why'd you ask? I said, because I've been through hell with this situation. I thought my situation was down to what they told me was something called fibromyalgia. It turns out that I think I was pushed into a menopausal situation and didn't know it. And they weren't aware of what that was then. And I'm talking about nearly 20 years ago. So, they should have known because 20 years ago there were studies being done in Cambridge and Oxford about exactly this. I found them because I'm one of those rabbits that go down the hole looking. What I would say to you is, and I'll say this to any man or woman, if you're a man and you're in a position of leadership, or if you're a woman and you're in a position of leadership, be kind, be understanding, try to help work out what they can do and what they can't do. Don't make them feel useless. Don't make them feel like they're on the rubbish tip because it might only be until they get their hormones underway and sorted. They might need a month or so to just try and get some help. And once they've got that help, whether it's a gel, whether it's a pessary, or whether it's tablets, they just might need an estrogen boost that will get them to a place, or or an estrogen decline that will get them to a place where they're back in balance. So it's not over. It really isn't over. It's a period of time and it will pass. It takes a time to pass. Some people I've spoken to say it takes 5 years. Some people say 5 months. We are all unique. But I'm telling you, if you're in the workplace, please, the most important thing you can do is be kind to each other. Don't comment on the mistakes that are being made all the time. Go for a coffee and find out what's going on, because it's easy to point fingers, but it's so much easier to be part of a team. So just something I really believe in. So I hope that helps, Lisa.
Yeah, it does, and you're right because the part about the research, the UK has been leading the charge when it comes to research on menopause. So it's somewhat concerning when the healthcare providers aren't aware of these situations, but that is happening all over the world. Healthcare providers still don't know enough about menopause. As we are having these conversations, that is changing. It's a little slow, but at least it's changing in the right direction. Um, but yeah, it's anything can cause that brain fog, could trigger those hormonal fluctuations, um, menopause being one, but there are other health conditions that can shove you into menopause. You talked about having a hysterectomy, so right away your body is shoved into menopause. And I use the word shove because you literally go one day you're fine, the next day you could have severe hot flashes. Certain medications could shove your body into menopause. Things like breast cancer treatments, so life saving treatments that you need, can also put your body into menopause. And these are the things that we're not discussing. So you're recovering from those surgeries, which puts a lot of trauma on the body. A lot of times, doctors aren't referring you to dietitians to help you with that recovery process, and then on top of that, you have menopause. So you're going back to work and experiencing all these things, and you're wondering what's going on, and you're not feeling as if you're contributing. Your boss is noticing things are different, and you're not feeling like you're getting the support. So I really appreciate you sharing your experiences there. You talked about some of the things that can cause that brain fog. So things like menopausal symptoms. So if you're experiencing more hot flashes, more night sweats, if you're having anxiety attacks, if you're having bouts of depression, that could cause it as well, or trigger those brain fog moments. Especially insomnia, so not getting enough sleep. So as a general rule, when we sleep, the body goes into repair mode, and this is for everyone on the planet, right? You go into repair mode. So if you're not getting enough sleep, your body isn't doing that process of repairing. So if we put menopause on top of that now, your body isn't getting enough rest, which could trigger the brain fog, could trigger the night sweats, and then it's not getting that repair mode. So again, it makes things more challenging. So this is why we talk about these things. This is why we give the advice. So please put in the chat any questions you may have. If you're doing anything to help with the brain fog, if you have your own solutions, things you try, please share with us, because this is a learning environment. It's a safe space where we want to share as much as possible. And you see me going back to my notes because, yeah, I'm experiencing a little brain fog today, so I just want to make sure that we have all the correct information. So we talked about sleep hygiene. So we want to make sure the room is cool. You're wearing clothes that don't cause you to sweat, to trigger those night sweats. You want to come off of the phones, turn off the TV earlier. Even if you're using the blue light filter on your phones, or you have those special glasses, remember your brain isn't getting the signal to switch off. As you're scrolling, mindlessly scrolling, it's still processing what you're reading, what you're seeing on the screen. So again, you're not getting the signal to switch off. And I know I have a lot of clients that say it, if I mindlessly scroll, I eventually fall asleep. But you may fall asleep but not go into restful sleep. So it's a habit to break, yes, and everything takes time. Maybe set an alarm. Okay, I'll do half an hour scrolling, then switch it off and turn to something else. Maybe read a book, a physical book. You could do things like have a hot bath, do some light stretching. Anything to give your body that signal it's time to sleep. Even something as simple as turning down the lights so that you trigger that circadian rhythm so that your body knows to go to sleep. Everything takes time. Don't stress about it, because when we stress about things, you're raising that cortisol level, you're raising that stress, and you're going to again trigger the night sweats and not fall asleep properly. Right? As I'm talking about stress, stress management is also important. Everybody is different. So, for some people, listening to music reduces stress. For others, reading a book reduces stress. Some people, it's yoga. For me, it's not so much yoga. I like music. My dad was a DJ, so maybe that's where I get it from. So I'm drawn to music to relax. It takes some trying. Maybe you don't know what helps you relax. So take a month, try a couple of things. If it doesn't work, don't beat up yourself. It just means it's not for you. Try something else. It goes back to what Paulette was saying, coming from a place of love, forgiveness, not stressing out about certain things. And I'm seeing some comments coming in. Oh, we have more
Just on
people on
that
the line
note,
too.
Lisa, very
Sure.
quickly, I just was going to say to you that one of the other things that I really think is important is to differentiate brain fog from what we all do, which is walk into a room and go, why am I here? Right? That isn't brain fog. That is
Mm.
just what we all do. That is
Yes,
what
yes, I
happens
do
as we
that.
get older, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
go upstairs because you
yeah.
know there's something up there you need. You get up there and you go, why am I here? That
Uh,
isn't what brain fog is. That is
Yeah.
no.
just getting older and
Mm.
becoming forgetful.
I'm
And
so
that
glad you
is
said
very
that.
different, right? It's important because
Yeah.
brain fog is when you, I tell you what it does for me. And everyone used to, well, people laughed at me initially. Then I used to say, don't laugh. It's not funny, you know. And they would go, they'd laugh even more. And I'd be like, but why is it funny? And they're because it's so close, but it means something so different. And what
Mm.
would happen is I would go into my filing cupboard of words and I would be looking for the word that I wanted, right? Say, for example, I'd say like philanthropist, right? I
Mm.
would say philanderer, right? He's such a wonderful philanthropist. And I would, and everyone would be absolutely
Mm.
themselves with laughter. And I'd be the one sitting there going, what did I say? What did I say? What did I do? And then, of course, somebody would say, you said this. And I'd go, I didn't. And they'd be like, you did. And I'd be like, oh, my life. You know, and that is the truth. That is what brain fog is. Brain fog is where you go to the filing cupboard, you think you're getting the right word, and you miss it just by one. It might be just one either side, but it
Mm.
completely changes the context.
Mm.
And that has happened to me so many times. And I've sat there and gone, did I really just say that? And then someone said, yeah, you did. And I'm like, oh, you know, I'm wanting to eat my words, but it's too late. They're out. And it's
Mm.
not like when you're drunk, you tell the truth. It's not like that. It's not like when you're drunk and you absolutely are honest with people. That's different. This is like you just can't find the right word. It's you're
Mm.
in the filing cupboard, but you can't find it. That's
Yeah.
what I call brain fog. That's my best explanation.
No, I like that. I like that because as Lisa was talking, I'm thinking I have brain fog all the time, simply look. I'm in a three-story house. There's nothing, so I'm well aware that I can walk upstairs and forget whatever I came upstairs for. I'll go downstairs and think, what am I doing here again? So that's just age thing, like you said. So I can live with that. I'm glad you explained that. Look, Sean's here. Let's welcome Sean.
Yes.
Let's take a couple of questions for you, Lisa. So welcome, Mr. Identity Disruptor, Creator, all these things that he is. I think America's here as well. Yeah, stopping by on YouTube. Hopefully, it's my YouTube. Yeah, it's my YouTube. Please comment, and all that stuff, my friend. You know what I mean. Yeah, America is very lively on YouTube these days. These shorts. No, so Jane makes a good comment. She says, "I think incorporating this in the wellness program will be key." Lisa, you were there last time, weren't you? You were there when Dr. Tanya and Damien's virtual wellness summit thing.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
so you were there. You were a speaker there, right?
yeah.
Educating
Was
men on
last
how
time.
to be supportive when their teammates and partners are dealing with these things. Yes, and not cackle like hens, like yeah, we're prone to that. Well,
Yeah.
let's.
This is why we do these rooms every other Tuesday. A lot of times there are more men in the room than women, which has always been a blessing that I think men are really interested in the topic, want to learn more, want to take that information back to their families, communities. So we're really blessed that we have men in the room and they feel comfortable being here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know. Is it because I feel comfortable being here?
Of course you do. I'm not going to ignore that.
Thank you. Well said, Lisa.
I'm seeing more people
Hold
on
on, no, no.
LinkedIn.
Is this Annie? My sister Annie's here, I think.
Um,
LinkedIn user. Hello, everyone.
uh,
Great to be here. I
yes,
think
and I'm
that's
not
Annie.
seeing that. And
She's
I
had
think
her.
that's Alison.
Who?
Alison?
Okay, Alison. Okay, and okay, our friend Alison. All right.
Yes.
I can't see, so all I can do is.
Yeah, that's why if you see me looking off, I'm looking at the phone to get the comments
That's
as
all right.
well.
You look. So I'm looking, but I'm trying to put some of the ones.
Yeah.
Will. So the legend Will. He's such a legend that he's named
Hmm.
twice. I like that. Yeah. Let me not. No, let me not try on myself. It says there's a problem today for many people, regardless of age. That's what we're saying, Will.
Yes.
You and I, as not being as young as we were, we recognize forgetting stuff. But no, but brain fog is something unique in itself, is what Paulette's saying, which I can accept. And that moment creates fear in general, fear and in general conversation with women more than men admit it is happening to them. Yeah, yeah. The men think they share others will see it as a weakness.
So
Yeah.
do women. That
Mm,
comment there about seeing it as a weakness,
mm.
that's what we all experience, yeah.
Yeah, again, that's
Yeah.
I think
And I'm
Addison
seeing
says.
Cyrus. Well, I saw
Thank,
him in the comments here as well.
yeah,
Hi,
okay, yeah,
Cyrus.
I'm
Nice
getting
to
to
see
him in
you.
a second. I'll get to him in a second. So again,
Um,
thanks for making that distinction. See that distinction is everything, Paulette.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
we
that's
definitely
Alison
appreciate
again.
that.
Thanks, Alison.
Mr. Cyrus, how you doing? During the day, I only forget about three things: names, numbers, and it's just true.
Yep.
I don't know, but forgetting names is not quite the same, though. Well,
Well,
forgetting,
I've never remembered names. I remember faces.
yeah,
Yeah. But it's getting worse because of the brain fog.
It's
Because
I
it,
find it easier, or I did find it easier if it was I had a face and a name. So I'd remember the face but not the name.
yeah,
So
mm,
then as long
that's
as
what
I
I always do.
smiled at the face and then they'd reintroduce themselves, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, great. Hi Sue." And I'd be thinking, "Thank God you told me who you are," right?
yeah,
But I'd know the face, I'd know who they were, but I couldn't put a name to the person. But
mm,
that kind of only lasted, I would say, for about 6 to 8 months when I was absolutely all over the place. They couldn't sort my hormones out, they couldn't do anything. And I had a prolactinema, which is something that people don't know much about. And that's a tumor on the pituitary gland, which is why I had the hysterectomy in the first place.
Yeah.
So they call it a brain tumor, but it's really not a brain tumor. It's a tumor on the pituitary gland. So I suppose it's in the brain,
Yeah.
but it messes with all your hormones and it messes with them in a big way.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of help to get sorted, but it gave me such an insight into the mental wellness of women and how it really does change everything. It can change their appearance. Suddenly they start dressing more dowdier. They will literally start covering up more. They will change from being vibrant colours to dull colours because they want to just be disappearing into the
Yeah. To
wallpaper,
hide, yeah.
you know? And that's something that I understood as masking of this pain they're going through because
Yeah.
it really is like they've lost their identity. And I think that's really important that we never forget that.
Yeah. And with the brain fog, you can't forget family members' names, husbands' names, forgetting how to get to work. I've had clients call and say they are at work and they can't remember how to get home. They can't remember how to get to church. So things that they've done for years and they don't even have to think about. they suddenly can't remember where to go, and people that are close to them. So it's more than just going into a room and, like, as you said, forgetting why you're there. That happens as well, but it happens when you have brain fog. It happens often, but there are other symptoms that we relate to brain fog as well. And then there was one I was going to say, and see, I forgot. But
Yeah,
it will come to me.
there's a
um,
couple more comments.
yeah, yeah. I'm seeing
Say,
Natalie is here as well.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know if it showed up. Yeah, Yolanda. Hi,
So
Yolanda.
I see Yolanda as well. So eloquently said, says Natalie. You know, Mr. Whisper Boy. And that's very well said indeed. Jane, all right, Jane has a task for you, Lisa. Lisa, can you talk about GBX
Yeah, I was getting
and
to that.
how that
I just
actually
want to say
came
hi
from?
to because we're not finished. Hi to Christina
Okay,
and to
Christina's
Gabe.
here as well.
Yeah, that's to finish off the hellos.
Yeah. Well, so you can see the flyer behind me. That's me and Christina's event on the 31st. Lisa, hijacking your show. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, don't worry. At the end, please
Yeah.
put the link in the comments. Yeah,
Why?
not now, not now. At the end of the
Oh,
show.
Lisa, let me
At,
do it now. I want to do it
no,
now. Why? Okay,
at the
I
end of
don't
the show.
understand why people don't want to make money on LinkedIn. Why don't you make money in your business? If you're making money, fine. If you're not, you know what to do. But I'll
Yes,
remind you again.
call Annie and talk to him.
No, book for the workshop.
Well,
You
see them
know,
call you and talk to you, and you tell them book the workshop.
just book.
Yes.
Go on then. I'll
Um,
let you carry on.
yeah. So let me go
But no,
back to the question.
it is me and Lisa. I think Gabe's here as well.
Yeah,
So Gabe does his show with his wife. You're never late,
never
Gabe.
late.
No one's
Oh,
late. If you're here, then
yes,
brilliant.
exactly.
Can't post messages on some channels. Okay, let me get rid of that. Okay, have I missed anyone? Okay, is anyone you can see I can't see?
No, I think that's it. I hope I got everyone. If I didn't, if you're in the audience, please leave a comment. That's the only way we see you. So let's acknowledge you and say hi. Let us know where joining us from. If you have a comment, if you have a question, please leave it. We love the engagement, and you all always leave such great comments and questions. So please engage with us. So let's go back to that question on diet. So we talked about sleep triggering brain fog, stress triggering brain fog, and yes, definitely nutrition can trigger it. So nutrition, which includes water as well, dehydration. So even if you're not in menopause, if you're a little bit dehydrated, it interferes with that brain chemistry. So no matter who you are, the age you are, if you're not drinking enough water, and when I say water, it doesn't have to be plain water. It could be infused with cucumber slices, lemon slices, whatever fruit, whatever herbs, mint leaves, basil leaves, infused with tea bags as well. It includes herbal teas, um, well, tea in general. It also includes coffee. There's a myth that coffee dehydrates you. It actually doesn't. Coffee is mostly water. For some people, it triggers you to go to the washroom quickly. That's something different, right? So, even your black coffee is something you can use to hydrate. Of course, drinking coffee in the evening can interfere with sleep, which will trigger brain fog, right? Um, if you're doing the nice flavored coffees with all the foam and the frappuccino and the caramel, those things are increasing your calorie intake, which means you could gain weight off of that. And weight gain can lead back to unhealthy eating, unhealthy habits, and that brain fog. So just be mindful of what you're having. It's not that you can't have those nice coffees. I prefer to leave it as a mental health break and enjoy it that way instead of having it as a consistently every day. But black coffee is fine. Any type of tea is fine. Just be careful of the caffeine if it affects you. When it comes to alcohol, having a drink once in a while is fine. But alcohol triggers hot flashes, and hot flashes trigger brain fog. So this is where journaling can be important. When you have that glass of red wine with dinner, see how you feel after. Is your sleep affected? Did you get any hot flashes or night sweats? Did you have anything memory wise? Um, oh, I remember what I was going to say. With the brain fog for me, sometimes it feels like a detachment. My brain actually feels like it's floating. So I'm thinking about something, I want to remember something to write, and it feels like these signals aren't going to my brain and back. Right? So that's where the gut brain axis sort of comes in. Nutrition is extremely important when it comes to menopausal symptoms, when it comes to health and wellness in general, and preventing that brain fog. Because remember, we said uh, stress triggers it, anxiety, depression, right? So you want to give your body enough fuel, enough nutrients to reduce those risks, reduce those symptoms. Goes back to eating more plant-based foods. And notice I didn't say go vegan, go vegetarian, cut out meats, right? I'm saying focus your foundation should be plant-based foods. And what I mean is your fruits, your vegetables, peas, beans, nuts, seeds, and your whole grain foods. Let that be 80% of your meal for the day, for the week, for the month, for the year. Because what you do consistently is what affects you, right? And the 20% could be if you're eating meat, try to keep it to chicken breast and fish, has less saturated fat. If you're eating red meat, keep it once in a while, trim off excess fat. Even how you prepare it, how you cook it. So doing a lot of fried foods, not the best choice. Um, Season with a lot of herbs and spices. We think of herbs and spices as just flavor. They actually have tremendous health benefits. So adding things like cinnamon, turmeric, ginger, garlic, onion, those things actually reduce inflammation, reduce your chance of heart disease, reduce the brain fog. Right? So when you're thinking, what am I cooking today? If I'm doing, let's say, rice, can I add an extra vegetable? Can I grate something in there? Can I chop up something and throw it in? It's a good way to get rid of vegetables that are starting to go bad. So if I'm doing a stew, if I'm doing soup, I know any you do your rice, you have this stew that you make as well. So those things are really good to throw in vegetables, also to throw in spices as well. So I love things like Thai food, Indian cuisine, African cuisine because they're heavy on the spices. Not just to taste great, but it goes to those health benefits. And you remind me of that dish you make. Is a stew that you always make. What is it called again?
Well, yeah, the last time we talked about okra soup and then the stew that goes with it. I always have a meat stew. And the stew is something that's essentially it's done in tomato. It's got a tomato base. And
Which
you
is
get to
excellent.
roast it. It does. Mine is very spicy. Yeah, I got to cook one after the show. Oxtail and chicken. I think is my thing tonight. So good, but it feeds me for the week. If it does I will eat that with whatever rice, pasta, and pounded yam and other stuff that I eat. Right?
Yeah, but doing it in a
It's,
tomato base is so great because
mm,
cooked tomatoes helps with reducing prostate cancer. So even going back to those ethnic dishes, experimenting, different cookbooks, go on YouTube. This is the time to experiment. If you don't like something, okay, so don't make it next time. It's not a big deal, right? But go to those local ethnic shops, the Asian shops. Look at the different mushrooms they have, the different spices. And those are the things that will help increase that gut microbiome that Jane was talking about. Increasing the good gut bacteria. Good gut bacteria, sorry. Good gut bacteria loves variety. It loves plant-based foods because it feeds off of the fiber. So the fiber we can't digest. That's what is the food for the good gut bacteria. So that's
mm,
why I'm saying eat more plant-based foods. If you're cooking meats, so like any oxtail stew, yes, okay, it's red meat, not the best choice, but having a little bit every day is
There's chicken
okay.
there as well. There's chicken.
Yes, but putting more veggies in it, and then
Hmm.
what are we having it with?
Hmm.
So we could have it with rice, and you could do that okra rice, and also have steamed veggies or roasted veggies, whatever it is at the side,
Yeah.
a garden salad. So it's what you have it with,
Hmm.
right? So that's why you'll never hear me say go vegan. Yes, going more plant based and towards that vegan lifestyle has been proven to reduce disease risk across the board. But it's about choice, it's about culture, it's about socialization. There's so much more that goes into food. It's not just nutrients. So if you're choosing to eat meat, reduce the amount of fat, look at how you're cooking it, okay, and what can I add to it? Paulette, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, just one thing that I recall very clearly was being told about probiotics and how important they were for the mind, because I was all over the place, as I said. And I ended up buying one of these yogurt making kits, so I'd make my own yogurt so that I could actually make sure that I was getting all this stuff that I needed. And then I found out that the stuff that they sell that says probiotic on it has got so little probiotic in it that I was better off making it myself. Um, but one thing that I will say, and it's not a conversation that we probably normally would have, but in menopause, one of the key things that females have spoken to me about, and I say this in a very personal way, and I don't mean it to be offensive at all, because bathroom habits are something that, we don't usually talk about.
Yeah,
But along with um, the brain fog, because our guts are all messed up, because our hormones are all messed up, women become increasingly constipated.
yeah,
And when they become constipated, they can't think. Your mind, at the end of the day, we might think the mind's in charge, but truly the gut and the bowel is, because if they don't work, you know what? Nothing works.
yeah,
And so I had women crying on my shoulder. I mean, I was the office, you know, I was personnel, I was the manager, I was the leader. I kind of was like jack of all trades. But if the women needed to talk about something personal, they'd come and corner me in the coffee shop. And it was always about, usually, would you believe, I've got piles. My piles are causing me such a problem. I can't sit down at the office. Is it okay if I bring the ring that they've given me at the hospital and I just sit on it? Well, you laugh, but if that is what a person is having to deal with, it's
yeah,
horrific.
yeah,
It's absolutely horrific. And we know it happens after pregnancy. We know it can happen for women then, but did we
yeah,
ever think that women would become that constipated? They would have piles and have to sit on cushions? Of course
yeah,
not. But
yeah,
nobody talks about these damn things. And if that's your partner or your wife or your friend or your sister or your cousin, have the sympathy and empathy they need to be able to speak about it. Because all this brushing stuff under the carpet, it will never get resolved. We'll
yeah,
always be, shh, don't talk about it. And we mustn't be like that, The gut and the biomes and the probiotics and all of that, if that isn't working, but then the bowel isn't working. And if the bowel isn't working, there's problems. And I mean big problems. And it's not a conversation we always have, bathroom habits,
yeah,
but we must be honest. And if we're going to talk about brain fog, that is directly linked.
mm-hmm,
Constipation, bowel issues are directly linked with brain fog.
yeah. So, so you said so much there. I hopefully remember everything I want to say. So colon cancer is something that's on the rise as well. Going back to not eating enough plant foods, not eating enough fiber. So that's one reason to increase your fiber intake and better through fruits, vegetables, peas, beans, nuts, seeds, and whole grains rather than the commercial fiber products. It's not that they don't have a place, but let that be through your doctor instead of you taking it, right? Because you could end up going from having issues to real issues where you end up in the hospital. The second thing is you talked about the gut being the brain. It is actually called the second brain because we're finding if you have more mood swings, depression, anxiety, anything like that, when we look at the bacteria that's there, it's actually more of the bad gut bacteria you have compared to someone who's eating more plant-based foods. The amount of times they get those anxiety, depression, even suicidal thoughts, their gut microbiome is different. They have more of the good gut bacteria. So again, this is why we're stressing eat more plant-based foods because your mood is actually different. It's not that you don't get sad, but you bounce back quicker. You're able to accept things in a different way if you're eating more animal products and more ultra processed foods consistently. Your bacteria is actually different, right? So there's another reason to eat more plant based foods. You talked about probiotics. So that there's probably a show we need to do separately because there's a lot that goes into there. But the problem with probiotics is this: if I'm eating plant-based foods, then I'm growing my gut bacteria. Yes, it will be slow, but it will take time to grow, and it will never be no bad gut bacteria at all. It's always more good than bad that you want, but bad will always be there. If we start eating more animal products, more ultra processed foods consistently, and then stop eating plant based foods, we're actually growing more of the bad gut bacteria. If we have something like a colonoscopy where we have to clean out the insides totally, then you have to restart the process of growing bacteria. The bad one will grow faster than the good, so you have to take probiotics to help it. The problem is we don't actually know what bacteria is there. So you could be taking a probiotic that has, let's say, 5 different strains of bacteria, and your gut already has those there. So you don't need any more. So it's really hard. And I know the bottles will say they have a million types of, not types, but the PTU, I can't remember the term, but it's a million or a trillion or whatever. Okay, great, but if I already have that bacteria, kind of wasting money. There's no way to tell unless I test, and that's extremely expensive and a lot that goes into it. So, working with your pharmacist, because pharmacists are trained in supplements and these things, working with your doctor, especially if you've had surgery or a colonoscopy to start growing back that bacteria, but start with your plant-based foods as your foundation. And you can't have a probiotic, just understand that one, as you said, what's written on the bottle may not be what's in the bottle because it's not regulated, right? It doesn't fall under the FDA, doesn't fall under the medication part. It's a supplement, so you can do what you want, right? And then I would mix the brands and look for different types. But there's one type of bacteria that if you have to buy a probiotic, it's called Akkermansia muciniphila, something like that. I will put it in the chat after. If you have to buy a probiotic, look for that one. Right? It's called Akkermansia. It doesn't really matter the brand name, but there are a couple brands that are better. But you talked about like the yogurt. So you can eat yogurt, kefir, whether you're doing it on your own or buying it in the grocery, no problem. They will have certain types in there, so you eat those. But if I have to buy a probiotic, I will look for one that says, one of the strains says Akkermansia. And there are different ways to tell if the probiotic is actually good, the type of labeling it's used. So that's a different show that we'll have to do separately. I'll probably do a newsletter on it to give more information. But when it comes to your gut bacteria controls everything. That's the takeaway from this. Gut bacteria controls everything. To grow the good gut bacteria, focus on those plant-based foods, especially things like your nuts and seeds. Seeds are less expensive and have more bang for your buck. So pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, sesame seeds, chia seeds, ground flax seeds, those things, have more of those. Make sure you're drinking enough water because you don't want to get constipated. If I'm increasing fiber, I could get constipated, so you want more water. If I've never had any of those foods, start slow. Maybe cook the vegetables first and then go to raw because I could get constipated, especially in menopause. Constipation is a normal symptom. You could have diarrhea and constipation almost at the same time, right? It could be really weird. Bloating, gas, nausea, feeling like you need to throw up, all of those things happen in menopause. So take it slow and build if you've never had plant-based foods before, right?
I've just turned your volume up. I think Sean was saying you can hear me and Paulette a lot, but sorry, I got distracted. Anyway, I think
Good.
look, the UK seems to be getting better, as you said, Lisa, on women's health issues.
Yeah,
They
definitely.
made a lot of song and dance about. I guess it's not UK. One country, is it Kenya? I think, who are giving women time off. When they're on their period, for example. I'm like, that's remarkable. So now we do have to address this issue, which brings us to Jane's question: how would you
Yeah,
suggest people approach HR for accommodations
yeah.
for women experiencing these symptoms?
So the UK is actually leading the way in this as well, having things like menopause policies, women health policies. They are encouraging more companies to have the policies because they're moving to a place where if you don't have the policy, they will give you extra taxes or fines as well. So they're sort of forcing in a nice way, listen, it's better for you to have these policies. I would start with again having a conversation because awareness is where it starts. If I don't know I have menopause and I don't understand the symptoms, I can't have a conversation. If I don't know menopause is going to affect my confidence, my productivity, how I see myself in the workplace, how others see me, then again, it's hard to have the conversation. And I think by now, at least for who's in the audience, they've been part of the conversation enough to know that menopause doesn't mean putting more AC units or fans in an office, right? It's not that. It could be that, but it's more than that. So, one, maybe bringing in a coach or someone to talk to your supervisors and your managers for them to understand why this is important and how it affects the bottom line. Because for them, whoever's running the company, the bottom line is important. Are you affecting my productivity? Can I make more money? So approaching it from that way, they will understand, okay, this is actually important to us to talk about. But also to talk to your staff, men and women there. Okay, so for women, what can you experience? For men, how can you support? Paulette was talking about being laughed at, right? Every company is different. So for me, if I forget someone's name, I say, oh gosh, menopause again, and I would laugh because I prefer to laugh at it than cry at it. Right? That lightens the room. It makes people more comfortable talking about it as well. I've found being light-hearted about the topic makes men and women come up to me after and ask, my wife was actually experiencing what you were talking about. Can you give me more information? If I go down the road of shouting at people, don't laugh at me, or going that route, it makes people really uncomfortable. But again, it depends on the culture of the organization and going back to those policies because as a culture, if you're putting down people for everything, then it's going to be really hard to have any kind of conversation, not just menopause related. Anything health wise that is affecting your workers is going to be really hard. So, as a general rule, go ahead, Paula.
I was just about to say that the new Institute of Personal Development, which is the IPD, is the sort of biggest personnel HR development group, if you like. It's like the FDA or the FAT for stockbrokers or accountancy or whatever. That's the body for human resources and HR. And so what we're finding is that they are now actually educated on these policies because, as you say, if they're not in there book of policies, then they're failing. So
Yeah.
they have agreed to give, and it's not holiday. Please don't mistake for what I'm saying as
No.
holiday. What
Yeah.
they're saying is that if somebody needs to take a day off or work from home unexpectedly because of the way they're feeling, then they have to be given the right to do that. Now, if that's one day a month, every month, and it's the same time of the month every month, it's not like a Friday afternoon every month where they're buggering off to the pub. You
Yes.
know, it's the same time every month because that's when they're having their cycle, and
Yeah.
it's creating such a problem for them, flooding and God knows what else. So the point I'm making is that the policy states that that person only has to call in and state that they need that day off, and it's allowed, and it's recorded as on a chart to see and plot so that you
Yeah.
see that that is the cycle. When it comes to actually having a conversation, if you can't approach HR yourself because you find it difficult, especially when HR directors are men, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better to go through a leader or a manager and ask them to support you through to the HR, so that
Yeah.
you're going via somebody who's maybe a bit more amenable, somebody who's got a bit more of a heart, perhaps. They're not every HR director's there, never mind, let me stroke your hair. Some HR directors can be fierce, not all, but some. And so, what we have to remember is that when you're dealing with a female male situation, it can sometimes be a little bit difficult. Like, oh yeah, we employ 700 women every single 700 women in our complete employ. If every one of them needs a day off every single month, how many days are we losing? Well, you're not losing them. They're working from home.
Yeah.
It's no different. It's just they're working from home. They might be giving you 70% productivity, but if they were in the office, it would be more like 30.
Yeah.
So you're actually gaining by doing this. And this is the conversations that HR directors are having in these big meetings now about policies and understanding. Now, that's in the UK. I believe it will come to the US. I
Yeah.
think the US at the moment is not as um, forward thinking. That's a kind way of putting it, isn't it?
That is
They're
very
not
kind.
as
Very
forward
kind.
thinking in this particular field at the moment, but it will catch up because it's about seeing how other countries. Finland is doing a great job. Norway are doing a great job.
Yeah.
Sweden, Switzerland, they're all the Nordics are doing a great job
Yeah.
in this field because they are forward thinking
Yeah.
countries.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
are female centric countries. They are very much the female is the center of, they don't care about what the problem is. Let's talk about it. They're very
Yeah.
much like that. Whereas I think, some of the African countries are not
yeah.
like that at all,
No,
right?
yeah,
But they're getting there. As
yeah,
you
some
say,
are, some are.
Kenya
Yeah, so
really have
Kenya,
jumped.
yeah. Hmm?
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I think what we're seeing is it's kind of sporadic where you are, where you come from, what kind of response you'll get. But try and go through someone who's more like an ally than an enemy, right? So
Yeah,
if you're scared of
yeah,
straight into HR, go via someone who can smooth the way to say, look, it would be better if I work from home once a month, if it's okay, and do it that way. But don't feel like, you have to pen the email yourself, because sometimes a cold email that says, is it okay if I take one day off a month every month for the next forever? They're going to be like, no, right? Because if we
Yeah.
give it to you, we've got to give it to every female. And I understand that as an employer, you'd be like, crikey, we could be losing number of hours. But what you have to have explained to you is by them working at home in a relaxed environment, a pair of joggers, they're going to feel a lot more comfortable than being in an office environment in a suit. And that's all we're talking about. And so I just wanted to make that point because I think it's important that we really are moving forward.
If
Yeah.
we,
And
if we, if we can get, Go on, Lisa.
No, I was just going to say it goes back to that policy that you have and the mindset of the powers that be in the company. Because I know there are some places in the US that are forward thinking. I know they passed a policy in New York sometime last year on menopause health. So there are some places that are a little more forward thinking. I know in the states it's a little different because every state has a different set of laws sometimes, different set of policies sometimes. Yes, it's not as proactive as the UK, but they're getting there because the conversations are happening at least. So it is moving in the right direction. That's extremely slow.
Mm.
But depending on where you are, sometimes the female bosses are the ones that are causing problems because they went through menopause and they didn't ask for anything. So why are you even thinking of asking for something? And sometimes it's the men that are more empathetic to what women are going through. So it depends on, we are giving advice on the ideal situation sometimes, but wherever you are, take what you can, what can be applied to you, and just leave the rest because I know we're in different countries, different levels, different companies, different, the organizations. I'm seeing Felipe here saying that there are companies in the US that have added things in place to address this. Yes, so and the companies that he's worked for have added those practices. So again, it depends on the sort of HR management team you have, the bosses you have, how open they are to having those conversations. So it is happening, just not on it's a wide scale level like maybe the UK.
Mm. Yeah,
Want to
look,
talk to me? Go on, Annie.
right. Our time has come to an end, Lisa. But let's take a couple of minutes to answer a couple more questions because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just want to, I want to amuse myself amongst other things. I suppose look, hydration is one of those things that is important as well.
Yeah, so I had mentioned, remember the water, infused water, teas, coffee,
Yes, yeah.
infusing water with boil. it's it's an option, but
In
this is
which
why, in all seriousness, it's not that. Remember, I said it's not that you can't have alcohol, but
are
see
you
how
sure it's
you
not the
feel
other way
after.
around? It's not vodka infused
I'm
with some
not
water.
even. Yeah, I'm not. I'm leaving that alone. But see how you feel after, because some women alcohol doesn't affect them, and some women, if they just take 2 sips of red wine, they get a bad bout of hot flashes, right? So see how you feel. Maybe move the alcohol to early in the day. Maybe only have it on the weekend so that it doesn't affect you at work, right? So it's not that you can't have anything,
Mm.
but it really means checking in with yourself and seeing, okay, is this, and being honest with yourself too, is this really
Yeah.
affecting me?
Mm.
Maybe if I have half of it, half the glass that I usually have, that would be better. And it's usually also what you pair it with. So if I have red wine alone versus red wine with my meal, it's a difference.
Yeah. Avoid the water. Avoid the vodka during the day. I'll say that much, right? Because if you have to drive a car, you operate machinery, don't be doing all that and blaming Lisa for saying yes, vodka is fine or red wine
No,
is fine.
blaming
It's not
Lisa.
fine.
Don't blame Lisa for anything on a general rule, okay?
I
Um,
like this one as well. I used to hate to exercise. Now I do my 5 minute stretches daily, and I get grumpy and yawning so often. Sometimes I have to do 2 sets. Right? Does exercise help? Is a question.
definitely, and I love this comment because she said 5 minutes. I
Mm.
think no matter how busy you are, we all have 5 minutes somewhere. Even something as simple. So what I do in the morning, I just open the curtains. I open the curtains out from the window. If I don't do that, I feel different. I feel very heavy. Just opening up the curtains and letting that morning sunlight in, I feel different. So it could be as simple as a 5 minute stretch, and that could make the difference in your mood, how you feel, how you
Where you go?
process information. Where did Paula go?
We've lost. She's still there. But we lost her
Okay.
somewhere. She's lost
Yeah.
the picture. She pressed
Yeah.
something.
We stream again. That's okay. Are you seeing Felipe's comments? Are they
No, no, no. Where's Felipe's comments? No, there's
the
other
last
ones.
other comment? Oh, you
Okay,
probably
hold
too
on.
low.
I'm getting
Yeah,
there.
you're
So
low down.
I can
Where
see
are you?
Felipe's here. I can see him
Yes.
now.
Oh yeah, you're
See,
way down.
see Platin, yeah, Platin is here as well.
Hi, Patty.
Oh,
Welcome.
Natalie. Natalie has a very long one. Cool,
Yeah, I
blimey.
was leaving that
Nat,
for.
we'll be here all day. So Derek and Felipe says
It
that.
was more of a comment. Going back to what I was talking
Oh, this
about.
one.
The
This one is there another one?
uh, there's another one. So thanks Natalie for the comment.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can address.
ginger, lime, garlic, all
Mm,
of those things are great. Cayenne pepper, yeah. Um, the last two comments that Felipe has,
mm.
there's a difference between paid time off and flexible schedule,
Yeah, this one,
which
the
goes
one
back to what
that's on screen.
Paula
This
was
one.
saying.
Yeah, like I said,
Yeah,
that's on screen now, right? And
yeah,
it says the last company, last two companies worked for had policies around this topic.
yeah.
I
So it goes
see.
back to your HR team and how progressive they are. Um, their emotional intelligence sometimes as well.
The
So things
Aluvine's
are changing.
thank you for being here, Aluvine. Natalie says she loves drinking the water every day, so that's always a good thing. Christy, I see you now. Sorry, I
Hi,
almost missed
Christy.
you. I see
Yeah, and
Platine.
I know not everyone loves water, but remember, it doesn't have to be plain water, and that is what I remind my clients of. What I like to do, especially
She
since hi
jumped.
Paulette,
She jumped. You're back. You're back.
uh, especially since it gets very warm in the Caribbean. I put a jug of water with tea bags, flavored tea bags. I'm not
Mm.
adding sugar. I'm not heating the water first. I'm just putting those tea bags in the jug, throwing it in the fridge. Sometimes I add mint leaves if I had it. Sometimes I add fruit if I feel like it. But just having tea bags to flavor the water gives it such a refreshing taste, feeling. It encourages me to drink more.
Why not just have tea, Lisa?
So I can have hot tea. I have hot tea in the morning, but in the evening, the sun sits outside my window and just sits there for a couple hours watching me. So the room gets really hot. Right? So that's why I use the iced tea, let's call it iced tea. I just throw tea bags in water and leave it. And it infuses into the water. I don't need to boil the water first and throw it in and let it draw that way. No. Just throw tea bags in water and throw it in the fridge. That's
It's
it.
like isn't that called iced tea? It's
Yeah,
not,
but
that's
I
what
know
iced tea
iced
is.
tea, depending on where you are, so in the States, if they say iced tea involves a lot of sugar, it's a
Okay,
drink they make. Yeah, so I'm not
okay,
talking about that iced tea.
okay. So
Although if
you're
you
not
want
talking
to add
about
a
my
little,
tea, my tea that goes very cold. That's what I thought iced tea was.
oh no.
It's
No,
not that. All
depending
right,
on where you are in the States, iced tea means something different.
all right.
And
Okay.
I'm
Now
not
look,
talking Long Island iced tea either, right? So it's
Paulette, I'm glad
very
you.
specific.
Paulette, you're back. So, of course, I'm gonna. You get to speak in a second, I'm sure. Let me do my thing now, Lisa, because there's two cool. Because I want to leave with you. I want us to leave with, right? Right.
All right, let me just say thank you, everyone. Oh gosh, you take me off the
We're not
screen.
gone. We're not gone yet. There's two cool. Because I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna put on the screen for you to answer.
Oh, okay, okay.
Whilst
So you're
you're doing
just gonna do
that,
okay. You're just
I'll
gonna
be
give me
keeping well
any
quiet
2 minutes.
whilst you're doing that. Right. Where's the
Okay.
link to that? Oh, yeah. No, this is Lisa's event. So, all right. Right, my masterclass, Lisa. Why don't people want to make money in their business? I don't understand. Right, my friends.
Well, tell them why they need to join your masterclass.
Yes,
There
they
you
like
go. I
join
slow
the
that down.
masterclass. Christina's help people build their business, and she does it every day. And she wouldn't. And there's a simple formula. As a marketer, and I know. it works. I've seen it work as a business growth person as well. You must want to build revenue. Where are we now? We're nearly in Q2, and so the first quarter of the year is gone. If you're making money, then by all means, I'll leave you in peace. If you're not making money in your business, and yet you do want to make money because that way you're past your goals, book for the masterclass, my friends. What are you waiting for? Yeah.
Also, in the UK, Annie, think about it. It's the new financial year coming up.
Mm,
So you
mm.
can put your costs of the masterclass against your education budget.
Yeah. Well, look, if you were to buy two tickets, I'll happily give you a third one for free. That's the best I can offer as we sit here now. And Christina and I just want people to benefit. We want you to grow your business because we know you can. Anything else, it will be a shame. Click on the link. Go out and just check out the masterclass. If you decide that you don't want to make money in your business, you don't making thousands a month is too much for you to sort of cope with mentally. Fine. But I've never heard anyone say such words. Like, everyone says, I want to make more revenue," and then they forget that they actually have to do something. This masterclass is your first step in that process. I'm gonna DM all of you anyway, so
And you'll
I'm not
put the
sh- I'm not
link. Is
shy.
there a link that you could put in the
Yeah,
comments on
yeah,
LinkedIn?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Lovely.
The link to the masterclass is there.
Yeah, because I know it's
Let me show it. So it is there on the event page. Do have a look. Why you can't edit these things after you put it up on the goodness knows, right? Enough of that. Thank you for giving me the chance, Lisa. I'll say
not
that,
a
right?
problem.
But then say I'm gonna leave you with, I'm gonna get you to answer some
Yeah,
serious
let's do some
questions.
quick any
Right.
questions that are coming
Jane
for
talks
me.
about infused water with, it's so fun with different things, cucumber, citrus,
I like that you use the word fun, and that's how I want you to see nutrition. It could be so much fun.
Mm.
Why drink plain water when you could drink a combination like this? Or maybe even blend these things together with some ice and make a little slushy or a smoothie. All
Mm.
of those things count.
Yeah,
This is
again.
time to experiment. If you do this combination and you think, okay, basil didn't give it the taste I want, I prefer mint, okay, next time you do mint. I think it's so fun to experiment and be curious about food. There are
Yeah.
so many different
I
flavors you
think
could
it's
explore.
missing the Pims, though, myself.
Poor Let. If you got to drive a car, it's not Pim's the clock all day, every day, right?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so a little extra flavoring never hurts. Okay.
Honestly, all right. Saying Jane says, on days I'm not feeling motivated, she does Pilates. But I'd say, like you, Lisa, I'm liking the fact people, we used to do hours of exercise every day, or whenever, whenever we exercise, only hours counted. Now, I think at our age, you don't need as much.
No,
The
the
gym kills
important thing
people.
is that you move. And I love this comment because even if she doesn't feel like doing a longer class, she cuts back the time, and that's okay. I think don't feel guilty about it. Doing something is better than nothing. And if you don't feel like doing anything, that's okay too. What am I going to
Yeah,
do tomorrow? Today I'm just exhausted because sometimes if we're too exhausted, doing some sort of physical activity could lead to us hurting ourselves, which means we're going to be out for weeks, months, because we did something when we shouldn't. If we're
mm,
exhausted, take the time, rest, get a good book, watch a good movie, curl up with your loved ones, take the time off, and then, okay, what am I going to do tomorrow?
mm, yeah, for sure. Look, I'm leading us to our last question gently. So bulk spices,
Yes, you're putting up every comment which you don't need to do.
I know. Yeah, well, this is useful. Now, spices help, right? It's finding what you like to eat. Right. Here's your corker of a question.
But I love what she
I got
said
no
there as
part in this
well.
at all. Yeah,
Yeah, just
I'm out.
oh my gosh.
I phoned a friend.
I'm not reading it. But going back to what Jane said just now, Asian markets, Mexican markets, whatever's close to you, experiment talk to the shop owners as well, because they can usually guide you as to how to use the product, what is the best way to start with it. So make friends with the owners of the supermarkets where you're shopping. If you go to a farmer's markets, they're usually very willing to tell you how to cook whatever they're growing. So make friends with the people producing your food. My girlfriend is talking about vaginal atrophy. Also, yes, so that is something that can happen. So I know it's not brain fog related, but this is something that is very common in menopause. Uh, uh, Vaginal estrogen is very safe. It is one of the safest medications you can use. Talk to a gynecologist about it. It will not reverse the process, but it can slow it down. Um, and it's a local thing. So even if you have breast cancer, local vaginal estrogen, the cream or the insulin, whatever it is, the estrogen will not travel to other parts of your body. So it's a very safe medication to use. So if you're experiencing vaginal atrophy, talk to your gynecologist about getting vaginal estrogen. Right? It's something that's less expensive than the other types, more readily available, and it works. And it's a safe choice. You can come back now, Annie.
The UK has one called estriol that I know a lot of my friends have used without any embarrassment or anything else. Estriol
Yes, little
something,
side effects.
no side
There's
effects,
one.
nothing. They
Yes,
all
yeah.
found that the vaginal estriol was the best thing that ever
Yeah.
happened to them because it gave them back themselves, whereas they were feeling like, you know, a dried up prune, and all of a sudden they got it all, they got everything they needed back. So I think there is this estriol is over here. There'll be something like that in the US for sure. I don't know if it's a brand name, but it's definitely vaginal estrogen
Yeah,
is the
it's
way
not the
they use
brand
it. The
name, but
gel.
it's
Yeah.
the type of estrogen product.
Mm.
Talking about HRT, so when it goes to brain fog, hormone replacement therapy is something you should look into if you have the option. If you want to go that route, it's very safe. When it comes to menopausal symptoms, hormone replacement therapy medications is the choice that many doctors use, and because it helps with many symptoms with very little side effects. I know there was a lot of a study that came out that frightened a lot of doctors. That has since been debunked numerous times. They have removed the black box warning off of these medications as well, or they're in the process of doing it. So HRT, some places call it M, MHT, menopause, or MRT. Can't remember the term, but talk to your doctor, your gynecologist about hormone replacement therapy if you're experiencing a lot of symptoms, especially brain fog. It can help reduce those symptoms tremendously with very little side effects.
Very well done, Lisa. You know, we got away with that one. Right.
Also, just on that note, Annie, to
Yeah,
embarrass you
please.
further, HRT therapy does actually bring back the female libido that also can be massively affected by the menopause and all that goes with it. And brain fog too, because when you've got brain fog and you've got all those feelings, you don't like yourself, you become depressed, you don't want to be touched, you don't want this, you don't want that. We mustn't shy away from saying why. It doesn't mean you don't love your partner, doesn't mean you don't want to be intimate with your partner, just not today, just not at this moment. I don't like myself today. I can't tell you why. I can't explain it to myself, but I'm wearing black and understand there's a reason. That's how I feel, right? I'm wearing my dark clothes because I want to disappear. And that is something that I've had so many girly conversations with my friends because I'm now 61, 62 in July. So, I'm kind of at the other end of it now. I'm like going down the dried up prune route. But the point is, when you go through this, like joking, laughing section. I think we have to be really prepared to have those intimate conversations because not only does brain fog let you forget your partner's name at times, you're looking at them going, yeah,
Yeah.
I know who you are. I married you, and your name is, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
because you're having an affair. It's because you can't actually remember the
Yeah.
blinking
Yeah.
name, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean anything. It's
Hmm.
just in that moment that name has just disappeared
Hmm.
out of your mind,
And I said,
and it's something to really bear in mind that these intimate conversations, the same as the HR conversations. Jane's talking to her friend's husband leaves the room, but then hopefully Jane's friend and her husband have a conversation. So hopefully it prompted something that might have not happened without them. This is the part where we say every conversation leads to another conversation. And that's all that we can ever do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well said.
I
No,
think
no, no,
that
Lisa. No, Lisa. No, Lisa. No.
what no, I just relax. So yes, men are going through it too, and we'll have that conversation about andropause soon. But testosterone treatment for women helps with libido. So if your symptoms are surrounding more libido type issues, dryness, okay, I won't describe the others because and you will run out the room. But anything vaginal related or vaginal estrogen and testosterone can help. Again, talk to your doctor to see what is right for you because not all women can take these medications. If you have certain types of cancer, certain types of liver issues, heart issues, you can't use any of these medications. But this is why talking to your doctor first, doing the lab tests, and seeing what's right for you. Right? So the testosterone replacement therapy is not just for men, it's for women as well. Have the conversation with your doctor.
Excellent. Excellent. Right. I still want to tell you, my friends, go buy your ticket.
Yes,
Pick
but
up
there's
the
one
link
comment
on
that you
properly.
forgot.
Look, scan that QR code. That one. That one there. Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
That one.
yeah, okay, all right. Come back to me,
That
please.
that will help you. Who doesn't
Yes.
want to make, who doesn't want to have £1,000, like $1,000 months in their business? If
Come
that's
any,
you, DM me.
come
If you
any. We
want
have one more comment to do before we go.
one more
We'll
what?
scan your code later. We have one more comment that I want to address.
Scan the code. Scan the code.
Yes,
Stop dithering
scan the
people.
code.
If you're on
All right.
replay, scan the code. You got
Okay.
the event that's on the 31st of March. That's next Tuesday.
It,
Don't delay. A week exactly.
come any. You're talking too much, and we want to end the show. I want to address one comment, please. Come off the
She's
screen.
blaming me. No,
You see, this is
I've
why I said it's you that
I've
made the show
hijacked
go
the
so long,
show.
huh?
No, scan
This
the
is what.
code anyway. All right, all right,
Yes,
all
you see
right,
how that
Lisa.
prolongs the show, huh? Okay. Just
Go
say
on
it
then.
wasn't
Go
him.
on. I'll let you
Look at
talk
who
on your
it is.
own show.
No, I just wanted to address one comment that Alvin made because she said she can't drink water.
Hmm.
She's heard that tea can dehydrate you if you drink too much. Right? And then
Seriously?
Natalie talked about caffeinated tea. So this is
Yeah.
something that's coming up a lot on social media right now. It's actually a myth that caffeine dehydrates you. Caffeine affects certain people and causes them to go to the washroom more. It doesn't dehydrate you because coffee and tea, if you look at it, it's mostly water.
Hmm.
Compared to the amount of caffeine to water, it's mostly water. So, talking about ways to hydrate us, especially if we're eating more fiber, coffee is good. And when I'm talking coffee, I mean black coffee. Adding milk and sugar blocks the antioxidants from being absorbed. But remember, I also talked about eating for nutrients and then eating for mental health. So if you're using your coffee for mental health, then have your milk and your sugar and whatever it is because that you're having it for something different. Of course, the portion size, the amount of sugar you add, look at the issues you're dealing with. If you're having weight management issues, don't have a 20 ounce of a frappuccino with all the whipped cream and stuff, right? It wouldn't serve you well. But if you're having a coffee and you're having the way I see English people make it, a touch of milk and a spoonful of sugar, that's fine. That's fine. But in that case, you're not drinking it for health and nutrients. I'm having a coffee because it makes me feel good. That's a mental health thing. That's fine, right? Two different things,
Yeah.
right? But it's a myth that caffeine actually dehydrates you. But for some people, it makes them go to the washroom more. Some people, you go to the washroom to do, how can I say this nicely? The number ones, as some people do the number twos because of caffeine. I'm trying to be very, I don't want people to run out of the room, right? Yes,
Thank you for
caffeine,
that.
yeah. Caffeine affects people differently, right? That's a, and it affects, right? But coffee on as a general rule does not dehydrate you, right?
You
Some
know,
people are a little more
I
sensitive
get.
to it.
I really drink coffee, but I drink tea all day. And I drink multiple cups all day.
Yeah.
But
But
without
coffee,
sugar, that's the thing. That's
okay.
why the thought of drinking coffee sort of makes me want to die because it's just too bitter. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't do it.
But good coffee is not as bitter. But caffeine can also trigger hot flashes, which can lead to brain fog. So again, we have to check in with ourselves. Maybe have coffee early in the day so that it doesn't affect sleep. Maybe cut it down to 1 cup if it triggers brain fog on the hot flashes, right? So check in with yourself, see what works for you, and make the adjustment to suit some people. Drinking tea with less caffeine in it, there are different types. Green tea with less caffeine works better for them, right? So experiment and see what works for you.
Yeah, I think Jane just given us a good point to leave our conversation.
Yes.
So thank you kindly for the conversation. We need to have more of these, please. We have this every 2 weeks. We're here.
Yes, every other Tuesday.
Yes. So do join us, Jane. It would be great to have you on stage in the studio. That a hint,
I
Lisa.
It is
You two
coming
should
soon.
connect and talk.
It is coming soon. Don't worry. Soon,
Thank
soon.
goodness. Thank goodness.
Yes.
No, it'll be useful for all of us, right? Look,
Mm.
thank you, everyone that's joined us. Thank you, of course, amazing Paulette. You've done overtime today. You ain't getting paid for it, though. Sorry, who said that?
Yes. Thank you so much. I know you're feeling 100%.
Yeah,
I
so
am so
thank you,
appreciative of
Lisa.
you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Look, so hopefully we'll see you again in a couple of weeks. And we're another topic. In the meantime, do connect. Go through the comments, connect with each other, connect with Lisa, connect with Paulette, connect with me if you want to come to my workshop. Right? Scan the code.
Yes. Please
Scan
all
the
go to
code.
his workshop. But if you're having issues surrounding menopause, I don't just counsel the woman, I counsel the family as well. So if you're struggling to explain it to your partner, let's have a conversation.
Indeed. Look, thank you, everyone. Look, enjoy. I've got a show tomorrow, but I'll DM all of you to hopefully you turn up as well, and
Of
that's a
course.
conversation. All right. So bye,
Have a good
everyone.
night,
Say bye,
everyone.
everyone.
Take
Say bye.
care. Bye bye.
And he sees you. He sees you. He sees you. Oh, from the children with no voice in borrowed rooms to the